We are live. We are live. Ready, Tiffany?
Let's go. Hey, everybody. This is Tiffany Parker, and you have tuned in to another episode of Table Talk with Tiffany. Thank you, Miko. Thank you to all the folks at Miko TV. I'm so excited today. I hope y'all can tell. I was waiting. We had to get some lighting together, but it's all good. I'm here with actually two of my, well, gosh, I got three of my favorite people. That includes you, Miko, but right now I have our regular co-host, Miss Sonya Hightower, the queen of GPTs. Sonya, say hello.
Hello, hello, everybody.
And then I got my one of my faves. I guess he probably my favorite. I got Mr. Kenny Thomas with us today, former NBA player, played in the league for Kenny 11 years.
Gavin.
11, my favorite number. Let's see. I've been knowing Kenny since he was a rookie with the Rockets. I started working with you when you were in your 20s, huh?
Yeah, it was what my first year, halfway
Mhm.
through my rookie year, and then ever since, she's been in my life, y'all.
Yeah,
Yeah, she run my world. Just to let you guys know. Man, look,
I run.
she being
I
modest
run
right
it.
now.
Listen, run his world. He run my world. Sonya
Thanks
been
for
there.
having me.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for being on. So today is I don't know why I get emotional when I see this boy, this grown man. I just remember when he was just a rookie and managed to push through the Rockets, the 76ers, retire from the Kings, come back and work for the organization, um, provide some broadcasting work, get his degree. I mean, he's got so much going on. And so when we were talking about mental health, you knew that I was going to make sure that you were a part of the conversation because it's a conversation we have often. It's something that we had to mind ourselves. We definitely had to mind our mind
Mhm.
while during your professional basketball career, but even after that, how you started advocating for other people. I'm so proud to see what you're doing. So welcome everybody again. This is another episode of Table Talk with Tiffany. I have former NBA basketball superstar Kenny Thomas and the queen of GPT, Sonya Hightower. So y'all, let's get it going. Sonya, I'm gonna go ahead and start with Kenny today
Okay.
because he's at one of his AAU basketball camps out there, still Mr. Basketball. And so, Kenny, kind of tell him a little bit. Can you talk a little?
Yeah, I can talk
I
as
know
much
you're
as
at
you
your
want. No, if you can hear me, we
so I
good.
just oh yeah, I can we can hear you. So I just wanted to first of all talk a little bit about how we know each other and how we got to where we are. We definitely can't tell it all. Watch what you say. This is public and it is live. I'm just talking about I'm just talking
Yeah.
about the parts. I'm just talking about the parts concerning,
Important
the
details.
business and mental health and you being the type of man that you are and the type of professional that you are. And just speak to it a little bit. Tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
what's on your mind today.
So thank you for having me. I
Oh, of course.
appreciate it. Being able to be a part of what you're doing, I'm always about it. And Sonia, you've always been amazing. I appreciate everything that you've done. It's one of those things to where um, it's been an unbelievable journey. Being able to come into the NBA at the age of 22, 23, being able to have a young woman and Tiffany in my life for over the last 20 something years has been an unbelievable journey. The journey has been it's been a roller coaster. One minute I'm playing basketball, and then the next minute, hey, here I am trying to figure out life and life after basketball. 11 years later, Tiffany's been a great inspiration when it came to trying to figure out certain things. When it comes to different paths and all the different things that I have, it was rough. There wasn't a lot of things going on at the time, but it's one of those things to where if you keep progressing and keep trucking and keep going along and trying to stay true to what your passions are. Things do happen, and I'm beyond busy now. It's just a matter of me being able to
Not
build.
beyond busy.
I'm beyond busy. It's a growth process, and it's when you're playing on such a high platform in the NBA, it's hard to little humble yourself to where you have to realize you have to develop certain things over again. Being able to be with Tiffany and Ken Harris from the standpoint of being able to know Magic Johnson and call him my mentor. Me trying to follow his path, I got a long way to go for that. But
You good? You doing
sky's
well?
the limit. Sky's the limit. So
It really is.
yeah, now it's a matter of a different kind of a grind. I'm diversified in multiple different ways. Like right now, I'm in the gym right now supporting my AAU program, which is a majority of a bunch of young women that we're trying to help support and grow. So we have about 150, 200 kids right now. I do basketball tournaments as well in the state of New Mexico. One of my tournaments this Memorial Day weekend, it was like 250 teams from like 12 different states. So it's being able to bring these colleges into New Mexico and being able to build that up and give these kids an out to be able to go to college to be successful. Not all of them are going to be able to be successful in playing a WNBA or NBA. So it's just trying to give them a tool and a resource to be able to accomplish their dreams while they're being able to play basketball. So it's higher learning and being able to partner up with some of the government entities that I'm with right now in New Mexico with the county, um, promoting behavioral health through social media, my social media platforms with a doctor that I've actually partnered up with that's a mental health, behavioral health doctor. And then just teaching on awareness and one of my things, the different things of going through adversity through basketball, I'm trying to carry that over to teach these kids that you can still accomplish the different things that you want if you just keep stepping along. I'm
And
a
that,
good community though.
that's exactly what we did, y'all. Because let me tell y'all, when Kenny was a rookie, Kenny, we always kind of had some really big business aspirations. We own a movie script, so we got
Yeah.
with some award-winning writers and producers, and I mean, while you were in the league, I'm just talking about your mentality because we're talking about men's mental health. It's Men's Mental Health Month. You even have an app that speaks to it, and you are partnered with a couple of mental health organizations that promote a healthy mind. And so I don't know. I think that while you were in the league, we had this mentality. Most people probably thought we were crazy. I was like, nope, you are not about to just play basketball and that's it. You remember we had
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the locker room to the boardroom, the locker room to the boardroom, and I was like, you're a three-time Hall of Famer. We saw to that. You got your degree from the University of Mexico. Um,
18 years later, I came back.
18 years later, like that's a true sign of not giving up. I'm so proud of you for that. It was kind of tough work initially, and then you just took it and ran with it and made sure because they said, hey, if you want to commentate on a national syndicate like you were on NBC. Then
Yeah.
they, oh, you got to have a degree. Oh, you want to coach, even though you've been playing basketball since you can remember and played for 11 years in the league. They still told you, oh, you got to have a degree if you want to coach. And so we were like, oh, okay, bet whatever it is that you say we need to do, we're gonna do. And so I appreciated, that mindset. I appreciated you
Thank
not
you.
just sitting back on your laurels and thinking that since you were retired from basketball that you weren't going to do anything else. You were still a very young man, and I just think that your mentality, and especially with you being an only child, Lord, my only child. No, I'm
Calm
just
down, Sonya. What you laughing at? She like, I know. It is, I
baby.
know. That's Kenny. That's Kenny, man.
Oh my God. Let me ask you
Definitely.
something. So what did your mindset have to be like to be an only child, um, to be leaving the league, and you didn't just get into the NBA just like most people did. You actually had to sue the
Yeah.
NCAA. You're one of the few people in this country who have sued the NCAA and actually won.
Yeah.
And you have always honestly Gosh, boy, you make me so emotional. I don't know why, because I'm so proud of you, but you've always fought anything that you wanted to do since I've known you over 30 years. You've always fought for it. It was either going to be your skill or your will. One or the other was going to take you exactly where you needed to go. What mindset, um, what put you in that mindset? Was it me? No, I'm just kidding. But what you,
Oh,
I'm just kidding. What made you have that mindset? Like, what is it that motivates you?
well, God, obviously. I was raised in a church just like you.
Right,
You got to start there. There's a lot of tribulations you got to go through. There's a lot of different things, adversity you got to go through. It's a matter of preparing yourself because when I got out of the NBA, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to work. But my mentality was always to keep pushing. And me being able to keep pushing is always giving me that drive to be able to be successful. Just prime example, soon the NCAA, it's hardly ever been done. But then at the same time, it taught me a lesson. This is not an easy world. This is not an easy life. This is not an easy situation. So how do you go from that? They never went away. I eventually had to sit out my senior year, the first semester. We made a deal, but just being able to know that basketball could be taken away from me, it was hard. Just like basketball was taken away from me when I had to retire in 2010, and I had to figure it out. And it's just one of those things to where it's just being competitive. My competitive nature now. NBC Sports California, I did that for 2 years. It was great. But the last 2 years, I felt like NBC helped me to be able to get ready for radio. Now I got three
right.
radio shows. Uh, right? And then I just started my Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas that's out there on all streaming platforms. I just had my teammate Steve Francis on, and I'm looking at having other celebrities on there to where it's a live radio show, but it's transformed into trans, transferred over into all the different streaming platforms so where you can go back and have a call-in show after every men's basketball game at the University of Mexico, which starts in November. I have a wine label, KT Legacy Wines. It's in the whole state of New Mexico,
Which
and it's
tastes
in
amazing, by the
California.
way.
Thank you. I got two reds, two whites, and I got government contracts. And man, there's a lot of different things that's just going on, and I'm just using my brand and realizing what it takes to get your brand in motion. And then once it starts in motion, it just there's multiple different things just keep coming. So I'm just keep building and trying to develop and grow and just be a better person overall. And that overall perspective is my mental health. The fact that I'm happy now
Mhm.
and I'm in such a peaceful place right now. And it has nothing to do with money. I think it has to do with the will of being determined
Mhm.
and trying to stay inspired to keep being Kenny Thomas, that guy that was jolly in the NBA when I was making all that money. But obviously that money's not coming. But I feel like I'm gonna make way more money now
You better
than I
watch
made
your
playing in
mouth.
the
We
NBA.
gonna
So
make 10 times
yeah,
what you made in the NBA. We
Right.
yeah,
always
I
Right.
talk
totally
about
Right.
that.
agree. So
Listen, let me
more
tell you something.
blessings are coming. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, and y'all, we learned a lot of expensive lessons. We
Oh
had
yeah.
a club and a restaurant in downtown Sacramento, which was highly successful. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the legendary El Rey, brought to you by the one and only Kenny Thomas, and El Rey stands for the King. And it was. I met some people the other day, Kenny. I was no, it wasn't. No, it was a couple of months ago. I was at Davis Street here in Houston, and these people were talking about they were from Sacramento, and I said, "Really?" And I said, I said, "Did you ever go?" I said, "Did you guys ever party downtown?" And they said, "Oh yeah, we used to always party downtown." I said, "Did you ever go to a club called El Rey?" And they
Mm.
was like, "What? What do you know about El Rey?" Kenny, they started going crazy. I was like, "That was me and my homeboys spot." They were like,
K9.
"You are lying,
I'm surprised they
Kenny."
didn't call me K9 if you remember.
Oh my God. I was just telling them, I tell people nobody believes about the legendary El Rey, but Sonya, you didn't get a chance to come down to Cali when we had El Rey,
It's
but let me
okay.
tell
It's
you,
okay. Let me tell you,
I
because
know you got some.
I got something brewing right now, and it's another hotel restaurant.
Kyle,
Just
you see
saying.
these braids right here?
I ain't
This
put
is
no
from
money in
Kenny.
this time.
This is from Kenny always having something brewing, y'all. This is from him. Whatever gray hair I have, it's from this child always having something brewing.
And look right here.
Oh my God.
He's everywhere.
Baby, this baby always got something brewing and I love it. So tell us about your mental health app too. And tell us how you got involved with the mental. I love that mental health app that you have.
So the mental health app that I have is with Dr. Kathy and Grills. She's a lady that I do some mental health, behavioral health ambassador
Mm-hmm.
campaigns with. She's out of LA. Her app is called Neolt. It's neolth.com. You can go to the website. When you think of Neolt, you think of a tool that's a resource to where it's within your space, just like we're having this conversation on my cell phone right now.
Right.
It's tools to help you, like the Combat, to give you the resources to relate to even kids your age or an adult that needs the resources and the tool because everybody's different from sleeping to having anxiety to there's multiple different things to where it can support your the needs that you actually are dealing with and the needs that you actually need.
I love that app. I think that app was just I mean, with it being an international opportunity, I think it's just an extension of who you are as a person. You're always trying to help everybody. And Sonya, you know, that's one of the things I used to ask Kenny when he was playing. Like, you killing it on the court, but how are you doing? You know,
Right.
how are you? And so I would always in the off season, always whenever he had downtime, I was always trying to make sure that you took some time to just power down. And I mean, he
We
always,
traveled, y'all. We traveled.
hey man, I'm
We
trying
traveled a
to.
lot, y'all.
Hey, we went a lot of places and did a lot of things. We did. We traveled because it was so many things that he was experiencing. You got the money, you got the fame, you have the recognition. You played with three of the top teams in the league. And I just didn't want you to be on that ride and not say that during any of it that you didn't enjoy yourself. And
Yeah.
so I was a personal assistant, a personal manager. He was the son I never had, the boss. I mean, it was so many different, and nothing has changed in that regard. You know, I'll always um, respect him as somebody who not only helped me on my journey, but also provided a lot of luxuries in life.
Work, work, Mariah, work, kid.
We
Come
worked
on.
hard, but we played hard as well. And I just appreciate the fact that, I mean, a lot of guys that came out of the league like you, they didn't come out of the league like you. So I'm so thankful
Thank
to the
you.
good Lord that He was putting it on our hearts to build things. Because what you're doing right now with your camp, we had, remember, sometimes we had camps with 40 people, and sometimes we had camps with 400 people.
Yeah.
We were just trying. We, like I said, we went to Hollywood to try to get our big movie deal on the road. Now that looks more and more palatable. And we started that movie deal. When was that? That was like what?
12 years ago, maybe.
Y'all, we've been hitting at this movie situation for 12 years. We have called
I've
everybody,
been retired for 15, see?
huh?
I've been
Yeah.
retired for 15.
We've been hitting at that. We hit at that movie deal. Y'all, we went to Hollywood shopping our script, and boy, we made some moves. We still have Taraji P. Henson signed up, and we wanted Idris Elba to play a part, and we got these big producers on board. Kenny, when are we gonna release that movie?
When I said I got stuff cooking, that's the other one. And my documentary.
And his
And some
documentary.
just saying. These restaurants, this concept, by the arenas. I'm coming to Houston. I'm going to Sacramento. I'm going to places that I played. I got a restaurant group that's backing me. I just got a lot going on, man.
Man, listen. Hey, and it's a good problem.
Oh yeah.
I tell you that all the time. I'm like having a lot going on and being busy and staying. You're still a very young man, and so you're not even 50 years old yet. So I'm thankful to see that you found a way to like pull your mind together. If you don't mind me saying, I was a little bit concerned when you retired, Sonya.
So
I
was
had
I.
I had to learn. I had to pray a different prayer. It was a completely different prayer that I had to pray when you retire, Kenny. And we have
Yeah.
this thing on our phone where it. What time is our prayer
10,
alarm,
1, and
Kenny?
5. 10,
What
1,
time
and
is our
5.
prayer alarm? 10, 1, and 5. How long have we had that?
Yeah, over 10 years.
Yeah. Has it been 10
Easy.
years or more?
Oh, yeah. It's probably 15.
Yeah, we probably for about 15 years we have our alarm for us to pray goes off at 10, 1, and 5. And it's so funny when we're together in the same place, our alarms are going off at the same time. And it's for prayer. And I can tell you that I know for certain that it was nothing but God that
Oh,
brought
yeah.
us through. Because let me tell you, when you think about the fact that the mayor of the city, the governor of the state, all of these people called us in to try to
It's
keep
back.
us.
It's back. I got
I know.
economic development. I got EPD. I got the county. I got the Department of Health in New Mexico. It's back.
I
God is
understand.
good. Fall back.
God is so good, and that's the thing. Nothing that we went through will ever be wasted. We had everybody in the club from you can. There's not one single person that you can think of from a celebrity or professional athlete or entertainment space that we didn't have in our club, in our circle, in our presence, and we just managed to keep our heads about us. It never never took us down. It only took us further. So I'm so thankful that you took everything that we learned, that not one part of it you can be like, I hate that we did so and so. We have no regrets. Everything is showing
This
up
shit's getting crazy
just
now.
like it should right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's life, right? And one of the biggest times was when I was going through so much. I was going through a divorce. I was going through so many different things. I was all over the place in my head. But it's a matter of staying true to who you are. And I'm so proud of where I've come, and I'm still developing. And I'm only about to be 48 next month, so I'm in a good space.
Don't tell your age because then you tell
I
mine
don't
when you
care. I'm proud of
girl get him. Anyway,
it.
I love you a whole lot, Kenny. I
Give
really
him the game.
appreciate you
Give him the
being here
game.
today. And
Got
man,
you.
I'm so proud of everything that you've accomplished. Sonia, you have anything you want to ask Kenny?
Basically, just one thing that I want to let Kenny
I'm
know.
still
I am
rolling.
so proud of you. I mean,
Oh,
we
thank you.
have it's been a journey. I may not have been there physically, but I was there with you guys walking through a lot of those times, and I am so proud that you were able to keep your head about you, and you were able to fight through some of those challenging
Thank you.
times without losing it. Because there's so many of them that do just lose everything. You know
I
what I'm
was
saying?
close. I was close to losing
Yeah,
it.
no. Well,
Just no, I'm not gonna go into any details,
yeah, but
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 it was
God, you
tough.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But God,
yeah,
He was able to bring you back and your foundation because
yeah.
you had that solid foundation and you had somebody like Tiffany in your corner and you had us praying for you in the
And
background.
you.
Yeah, that's why I say you had us praying for you in the background. I may not have been there physically all the time, but I was aware and I was knowing what was going on and pushing you through Tiffany
Thank
to
you.
make sure that you stay on top. So
I
we
know,
got you, baby.
thank you. I know that prayer line is real. And Sonia, thank you so much for everything that you've done. And being true and great to Tiffany because without the people that were on the journey that were there when I was in the NBA and different things, but between me and her going through the different things we've been through, I just love the fact that you've been true to her, and thank you for that. Adding me to the prayer line and praying for me because I'm so,
All the
Man,
time.
please.
All the
Look,
time.
look, prayer changes things. I remember one time I called him. I think this is probably the last time that we ever had to have that talk again. I was like, "Hey T, you good?" And you were like, "No." And I said, "What, boy? You know? Let me tell you something. We haven't done all of this for you not to be good. We did not, start this journey to make more money or be more famous or have more of anything except happiness. And so that's
yeah.
always been the most important
Let's
thing. And
go,
so
Al. Work that
I
thing off.
think that was when I packed up my stuff and moved to Sac.
I still got some of your stuff inside.
Hey,
Yeah.
this is a public platform, sir.
No,
Um,
you could edit this thing.
it's
I know
live,
better
man.
now.
It's live, man.
But you can
It's
edit
live.
this thing after the fact. I know better. That's why my podcast is called Unfiltered with Kenny Tom, and
This is called table talk, bro. So
that's
this
why
is
I'm
not
table talking.
you want to say you table talking unfiltered.
Talking at the table, right? Right? Right. Exactly. Exactly.
All right, I love you, boy. Thank you so
Uh,
much. You have anything that you want to say to any man that might be listening? What mental health tip can you give them before you go?
oh man, I wish I had my line in front of me. Um,
It's okay. What have you? I
it's
could say
just
one of the things that you've done has been consistent.
so I would say from a mental health perspective, learn to come out of your comfort zone
Hmm.
in order to be able to evolve. Being evolving is going to create a space for you to be mentally stable in certain areas to allow yourself to be able to progress. Oh, I just, oh, that was nice.
That was
I don't know
nice.
how I come up
That
with
was
this stuff,
good.
but
Oh my
hey,
God, who does that? You can
nah,
look. You can tell whose life you've been in acting like that.
when you, when you
Oh, that
got
was good.
when
Oh,
you
that
got
was
stuff
good.
flowing to you, hey, you got to make you good. Sonya, you know that only child syndrome. She already
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Thank
Let
you
me ask
guys.
you
I
something,
appreciate what's up.
KC, before you go, because you know we chop it up about sports a little bit. Man, what you think about KD coming to the Rockets?
Is that official?
What?
Is that official? I haven't seen it.
It's official.
Yeah. It's official.
It's official. Jalen and Dylan are gone.
You got a better shooter. I
Well,
like it. I
that's
like
what
it.
your response
I'm a
is.
KD fan. So you need Jamie to Houston for a game.
I forgot he did.
I love
He did.
KD. KD's 37. He still can go. Green can't shoot. Sorry.
Hey, hello.
And if you listen to my podcast, I talk about that. I just spoke about that just this past weekend. Talking about KD, I would love to see them on my Rocket.
Look,
Just for that, I'm gonna send you just that episode only.
haven't I taught you anything about discretion, sir?
Dude, I like KD. I like it. I think it's gonna be good because you guys need to win now. You're not trying to win later.
Okay. Coach just got an extension too. What do you think about that?
I think he's a great coach.
He's
He
cute.
came, he came from, but he came from Popovich with the Spurs. He knows what he's doing.
Mm,
Remember, I was
okay.
around him in San Antonio my last 6 years of my
Yeah.
career,
Yes,
working
I
out with the
do.
Spurs. Yeah, I
Yes.
wish I would have been a part of that organization. I still
He's
might
one.
be in the league right now. Just kidding.
He's one of the reasons why I used to drive you to San Antonio and come in to make sure everything was okay.
You should talk. Man, we could talk forever. But last time I was there, remember that big storm I was there, and I had to drive to San Antonio, and I was scared.
Yeah. Well, the
That
one
was the
where you
biggest baby ever.
Y'all, let me tell y'all this before he goes. This is how big of a baby he was. He slept on the foot of my bed during the storm because he was afraid. And let me tell you how else scared
Oh,
he
I
was.
remember that.
He took
What you
all
talking
of
about, Sonya?
I
he
remember
took
that.
we didn't have any lights, right? He took all the food to San Antonio with him and left us with no lights. He left money and didn't leave food. I was like, what are we gonna do with the money, Kenny? We
But I
don't
left money. All right, y'all.
all right, babe.
Okay.
Thank you
All right.
so much. I
You're welcome.
appreciate you. I
Bye-bye.
love
Love you.
you.
Bye. Bye.
See you. Bye. Yeah, that's the I can honestly say that
That's the baby.
that's the I don't want to say that's
That's
the
the
baby because
baby.
the baby is grown now.
He's a grown man now, but
He a
that was the
full
baby.
grown man, and I think that once he tells his story about how he persevered from a mental perspective, I think it's gonna be a great guide for other young players that are coming to
Mhm.
the league. Um, just I can just speak from the spaces that I've been in with athletes and entertainers, and it's tough up there. And you and I were talking about it the other day, and it's just like if you start to believe the hype
Yeah.
and you start to remember, we were talking about if you start to absorb as
That was
opposed to
yesterday.
observing,
Yesterday we were talking about that. Yeah.
then you can literally get into, gosh, I don't know why I can't get the lighting together today, but anyway, um, if you start to absorb all of that praise, and
Mm-hmm.
you start to really believe that you're bigger than life, and if you let other humans hype you up, then it will literally mess with your mind. And the reason why, just based on my experience and what we were talking about, is that the same way that people can hype you up, if you actually believe it and you embrace it wholeheartedly without any humility, without having God, without having people around you who like know people, like
Mm-hmm.
plenty of the guys that came up with Kenny and plenty of the guys that I've worked with and worked for, they had a lot of yes people. And so I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't necessarily welcome around certain circles within the circle, was because they know that my answer for everything was always no. I would tell Kenny every single time. I say, hey, just tell him no. Well, I don't want to tell him no because I don't want to scare him. Listen, just tell him. I think the biggest way to find out who it is that you're dealing with,
You lay in your
especially,
corner. That's right.
just tell them
Tell them
no.
no.
Just right off the bat, no.
See what
And
happens.
you should have the flexibility in every
Mm-hmm.
situation to change your mind. But initially, say no, and it would make him so nervous. Now that would mess with his mind. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he and I would have the biggest misunderstandings, not about anything with me and him, but about other people coming in looking to infiltrate the situation and trying to put things in his mind. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, listen, you're an amazing person, but you're just a basketball player, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are not gonna play basketball your whole
Rest
life.
of your life. Mm-hmm.
So what you're gonna be out of basketball from the perspective of being on the court longer than you're gonna be playing basketball. You're gonna stop playing basketball at 35, which is exactly what happened. And then so if you live by the grace of God to be 80 years old, you have been out of basketball for 45 years. What is your plan
Mm-hmm.
away from
For that.
basketball?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so and even with entertainers, I would say, what's your plan off the stage?
Yeah.
What is
Because
it that
there has to be the back end. You know,
for sure?
it has to be what are you going to do in the future? It's even though that type of life is really pop, you know, you have a lot of kids. Well, I want to be a professional player and I want to, I want to be a celebrity and I want to be this and I want to be that. It's a double-edged sword because on one hand, you're there with the fame and the this and the that. And one thing that we talked about before was when we were together yesterday talking about, you get to absorb all that praise that people are giving you, and then you forget that the talent that was given to you by God in order for you to share and serve, not for you to take his credit. When people pour praises onto you, those praises in turn are supposed to go to God. So that way he continues to bless you. He continues to cover you. And he gives you the right frame of mind and puts you in the right circle of people that will get you prepared for the after.
Sure.
You are literally an athlete. Unfortunately, you're literally one injury away from ending it. And I go back to, look, Curtis, my son, his senior year, he waited to senior year. He was going to start. He was on the varsity team. Second game, tore his ACL and his MCL. He was out for the rest of the year. So just that, understanding that it's just that fragile. So you have to be very, very careful and appreciate. Don't get me wrong. Appreciate when people are talking to you. Appreciate that, but then don't get caught up in that hype. We've been around plenty who have unfortunately caught up in it and didn't think about protecting the money and protecting and paying it forward, and now, they're in situations where, some of them are struggling, so you got to make sure that you keep that in mind. But the one thing is you got to make sure that you don't get bigger than the man who gave you the talent in the first place. So you must always give glory and honor to God for everything that He has given to you to share with other people, because it does not belong to you. He loaned it to you for a little bit of time.
Absolutely. And he expects a return on his investment just like any lender, right?
Right.
And I think one of the things that I can appreciate about Kenny, hold on just a moment. Let's see here. Who's this talking? Hey, Lakedra. How you doing? Hey, the jar lady is in the building. Hey, Layman. I just want to say hi to a few people that are commenting, a few friends that drop by. Listen, it doesn't even have to be an injury.
Right.
I mean, a lot of them, honestly, I can see it in a lot of their careers where, from a mental perspective, they snapped.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because that bright light can be blinding. And if you don't have yourself together before you get in a famous space, then having fame is a tough place to get it together. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm saying that the same amount of money that we spent on this, that, and the other with Kenny, I made sure we spent just about that amount of money on counseling and therapy and vacations and massages and putting a bunch of pastors and preachers and teachers and people who were positive into his life. One of the biggest, like he was saying, one of the biggest things that my brother and I did, and I thought my brother was going to be able to pop on. He must have gotten busy. But one of the biggest things that my brother and I did was we made sure that Kenny, had a mentor. And Magic Johnson is just a mentor of mentors. He just, we went out to his office in Cali. We took Kenny over there, and the way he poured into him and the way he blessed him was just something that we'll never forget. And I'll tell any people any day of the week that Magic Johnson is one of the nicest, most humble people that I have, that I've ever met. And so I wanted to just say that having people around you that have their mentality together is necessary.
Yeah, that's the key, because you have a lot of, like you said before, you have a lot of yes people around you. And when you have a lot of yes people around you, they don't want you to question what you're doing because they're benefiting on the back end.
Oh, for sure.
Whenever, cherish that person, and that person is not the popular person. Cherish that person that says, wait a minute.
The person that just say no, you can't do that. No.
We're not going there. You're not going over there. No, we're finna go. Look, we're partied enough. We're going back to the hotel. We're going back to the house.
You heard me say that a million times.
By yourself, because they had enough of that too. By yourself.
No, your reception is shaky, Sonya.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure if okay, we'll continue to move forward, but I was gonna say that when I see all these stories in the headlines, which I'm not gonna name names, but I can tell you that, well, I mean, one for one, the president, even him striking Iran, it's an ego move on his part. And I don't know that he thought it through. It just seems like his mind is that of a dictator. And so one of the things that I can say is that, I mean, he's thinking about the fact that he's trying to make himself a powerhouse, about I can make a decision to strike, a whole country. I can make that decision and then I'm just going to do it. Well, it's just a sign of what he does in his own personal life. Instead of him considering everybody, he'll just blow up the spot just to prove a point. And that's just a sign of a person who is not, mentally stable, in my opinion. When I think about all of the celebrities that are going through the things that they're going through right now, men in particular, and the first thing I hear about is, they had a bunch of people bringing them drugs. And that's exactly what happens in this space, is that there are a bunch of people who teach people, not teach them, but they support them in having an unhealthy space mentally so that they could take advantage of it. Because if you're sober and if you're in your right mind, you ain't going to do some of this stupid stuff that you see people doing. So when I hear about it, I'm like, oh yeah, they're keeping them drunk, they're keeping them high, they're keeping them with a bunch of lascivious behavior, a bunch of
That
carrying
was
on
serious.
so that they can take advantage of them. Lascivious. So that they can take advantage of them. That's exactly what they want to do. Because if you can take advantage, if you can have a person not sober, then you can get their money. You can take their possessions.
Hmm.
They forget. I've been around it. I already know about when I used to see certain people come around. I would tell Kenny, I was like, I don't like that person. He'll say, you don't even know him. And I say, oh, it don't matter. I've seen him before. Where'd you see him? In another movie, just like this one. And I know exactly how it's about to play out. And the answer is no. And
Hmm.
so I fell out with a lot of his so-called friends.
So-called friends, wasn't friends,
So-called
so-called
friends
friends that are not around to this day.
that are not around to this day. And just about every man that I've worked with, I can tell you that his other male friends were always, the question would be like, who is she? And I mean, I wasn't trying to assert my authority. I was just trying to say my job and my responsibility is to make sure that I personally assist this person. That includes everything, not just, appearances and their calendar and their money, but also their mind.
Hmm.
And I was very conscious of that. So when we were talking about Men's Mental Health Month, I mean, I guess as women, we should always have another man on here talking about their perspective. Where are you, Miko? Miko's like, I'm the executive producer of this thing. I don't have to come in and give my intellectual opinion. Hold on, let me see on here. Layman, what you talking about? Eris, what you saying no to? Somebody just said no. Tiffany Parker has influenced my baby to where he wants to be about the business of football, not a football player. Yeah, because I think your son is a very smart guy, and I think he belongs in. I think he belongs in the boardroom. Not as much as a locker room. I'm not saying there's a competition
Either
between
or,
the
yeah.
two, but the one that has more longevity, because the NFL stands for not for long,
Absolutely. Hmm.
not for long at all.
Hmm.
And I believe that I believe that more of our boys and girls who are interested in professional sports, they should be encouraged to get in the front office as well. So I'm like, okay, if you spend your time on the turf, if you spend your time on the field or on the stage or whatever, why aren't you trying to be the person who hires the next person who
Learn the
comes along
business.
who
Yeah.
looks like you? And so I've always told people to just learn the business. I
Hmm.
mean, if you're in an organization that doesn't want you to learn the business, you got to ask yourself why.
Why are you in that organization? That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
why don't they want me to learn the business? And I think that's how the billionaires came available, because I was like, oh, you don't have to have $1 billion, but I think that if you're a brilliant person, that you have the ability to be some kind of heir, whether it's a millionaire, a billionaire, a trillionaire, whatever it is. But I
Hmm.
think that if you utilize your brilliance, especially since it says that your gift will make a way, I can't think of it making any other way except a way for you to be, wealthy, financially sound, for you to be healthy and happy. So I don't know where I got that model from when I was working with Kenny. My degree is in criminology and corrections.
Both us, both.
Both
Yeah.
of us,
Both.
I was supposed to be doing something completely different.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I think when Rodney introduced me to professional sports and he introduced me to entertainment, I think it was like a light clicked, and I just kept trying to see what was behind the scenes. Like,
Hmm.
who's making all it? I see
Yeah.
all the puppets, but who are the puppet
I want to
masters?
see the gears turning. I want to see. I want
Yeah,
to see how it's put together.
yeah. Who's making this
Yeah.
move?
Who's putting this together? Let me see what they do.
And then when I met the ones that were calling the shots, I was trying to tell the people that they were calling the shots too. Hey, they're not smarter than you.
Right.
They're just looking at it from a different perspective. They're not even doing the heavy lifting. You're the one who's providing the talent. Why are you getting the least amount of the money? I
Hmm.
thought that the effort and the money should somehow equate.
It
And
should somehow.
somehow. And I think that was one of the perspectives that Janetta had too when she was started with Usher. It's like, hey, who's behind the scenes
Yeah.
making all this fun? We could do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay you to do that for my son. I can do that and make
I can do
sure
that.
that money stays where it's supposed to be.
And I love him for real. I had him
Right,
so
I love him for real.
know what
Right,
the deal
I'm
is.
going to protect him.
I'm
All
going to, and I'm gonna protect his I'm gonna protect his mentality and his money.
yeah, yeah.
And so I don't I just think that having this focus these last few shows on men's mental health has been a real eye opener to me, because last week Miko said some things, my dad said some things, and then just hearing Kenny talk about his perseverance, because it was tough, him being an only child. That was definitely another toughie
Away
for
from
him.
home, away from his safe space, out there with all these sharks in the water, because there was a lot of sharks in the water. A lot of sharks in the water.
When I say, and you know how many sharks there really were. And I used to always tell him, hey, man, he's like, it's these people are ruthless out there. And I say, Kenny, we don't have to be a shark to swim with them.
Mm-hmm.
The sharks have a lot of beautiful, exotic fish swimming with them. We're them. Okay? We don't have to be a shark. We do not have to go around trying to consume everything that we see. We can still enjoy this atmosphere without us being cutthroat and without us doing any backbiting, without us doing all these other things that people are doing to, to excel. I just didn't believe it. Again, I guess it came from God, because I don't even know where our business model came from. We was just, okay, we're going to do it now.
I think you were growing as you went. You know what I'm saying? That's why I tell people all the time, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. You get in there, you learn, you're going to make mistakes. Understand when you get in there that you're going to make mistakes in the beginning. And that's fine. But as long as you don't give up. And when Kenny realized that he was the commodity, he was the one, instead of, trying to get here and get there for them. No, let them come to you, and then you decide which opportunity you want to go, or make the opportunity for yourself. He has grown. To see him now and to see him back when we first know him, he has grown.
It's something, right?
He has grown so much. You sit there grinning like a proud parent. You're like, oh yeah, look at it. Because he has, and he has persevered a lot. I mean, understand people not understanding with the kid being an only kid and being out of his environment, in this space, and to be lucky enough to link up with someone like you that had his best interest at heart, and stuck with him through this whole time, because you have a whole lot of people that would have walked away. A whole lot of people would have walked away from it, especially when the money flow, wasn't really flowing like it used to be. It's those fly by night people, right, that are going to run away. Yep. But to make sure that you stay with him, and to make sure that his mental is right, and that he understands, and you're young. I'm a little bit ahead of you, so you're young. Follow me. I'm going to take you where you need to go. Now I want you to see this. Open your eyes. When he started to open his eyes and really listen, you had your ears open. Open your eyes so that you can start to see how this thing really plays out. And once he mastered that, now I'm busy. I'm booked and busy. I'm too busy.
Oh. And he used to tell me all the time, he used to be like, hey, you got too much stuff on my calendar. You remember that? Why I gotta get up this time? Why not? Say, hey, you're gonna not work harder for other people than you are for yourself. You're gonna work just as hard for yourself. Let me tell you something. In the off season, he used to say, listen, in the off season, you're gonna work out, bro. You're going to still go to counseling and therapy. You're going to still do everything that you did during the season that you did off season. And the reason why is because you need your routine. And he was real. Once we got that together, then he was very, very focused. And I think once it hit him that he was actually going to be retired at 35. I think once that hit him, he was stunned. He was just like that.
You're going to spend more time out of basketball than you are.
And that's what I said. He was stunned.
It was like, do it all that,
He said, are you still, is it So just like that, it's over. I said, just like that,
Just like
it's over.
that.
I said, Kenny, it's been a beautiful 11 years. Okay, it's that this part of this chapter in this book, this is over. And so there was the mentality in his mind. Initially, he was like, I think, I want to get back in the league. And I was like, and then you remember people were calling us from overseas, and I
Mhm.
said, do you really want to continue to play basketball? And he said, well, how else am I going to make money? I was like, money ain't the thing. We have money. All
Mhm.
right. It's not, you're not playing for money.
Mm-mm.
Are you going to be happy auditioning?
Fulfilled, yeah.
Are you going to be? No, you're not. This
You're
has been
beating
a
up your
struggle.
body. You're away from your family. It's just it's rugged. It's
It
rugged.
was it was
It's rugged.
rugged, but listen, we pushed through, and so that's what I wanted to tell any other men that are watching that might think it's easier because he was a professional athlete, and no, it was tough. And let me tell you something: a lot of people slammed doors in our faces while he played, and especially after he retired. For one, they felt like while he played, they didn't want to give him more clout and status than he already had. You should be satisfied. You're
Mm-hmm.
already, playing
Be grateful.
professional ball.
Be
You
grateful
are,
for what we give
and
you.
I'm just saying we are grateful, but being grateful doesn't mean that you don't aspire for more.
Well,
Like you want,
they're grateful is slash grovel.
well,
That's what I
exactly.
say when it comes to,
It,
they don't not necessarily. I want you to be grateful. I want you to be great grovel. That's what I
oh,
want.
oh,
I want
oh,
you to grovel.
I want you to beg for it. And I
Yeah.
said, they said, well, he can come in and he can sample wines or he can do. I say, hold up, sample wines. We want our own wine. How do we get our own wine? That's a conversation that we'll have later. Let's talk about this appearance fee. No, no, no. Let's talk about you keep the appearance fee. Tell us how to have our own wine. That's why he has his own liquor brand now. Then we had our own bottled water called Infinity O2. I forgot to
Mhm.
talk about that while he was on. But we had our own bottled water. We were in about 100 stores, and we just, I mean, during that particular time, we were just very I was very, very staunch on trying to figure out how it is that we owned or had a piece of everything that people were asking him to be a part of.
Mhm.
And I probably was more of a mental anguish for him than anybody. But I'm thankful that I stuck with it because he stuck with it, and I'm so glad about where he is now. So
Oh yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing, amazing. We got to go see him. We
has
really do.
says, yes, my question has me, lady. You punished. Nadani, I think I'm saying that right. No, 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 no. It was not punishing. I was not a taskmaster, but I was very insightful, is what I'll call it. I know just from having worked with professional actors and entertainers, singers, rappers. I mean, it ain't gonna last forever. Nobody's rocking the stage at 45 like they did at 20. Nobody's doing it. And the few that are, it's far and in between. So I knew that having a mindset for what was going to take place after the lights went out, I know that was going to
Mhm.
be great.
That's
I,
a good
I
point.
wanted him to finish in the locker room, and I wanted him to transition to the boardroom, and that's exactly what he did. And it was because of his mentality. And I'm not saying that we both didn't probably have some type of mental break where we had to check our minds, but I really relish in seeing him. I'm so thankful to God that he stuck with it, because there
Mhm.
were times people were offering him jobs, they were
Mhm.
offering him so many things, and I was like, we are not going to do that just yet. I told him, I said, now that you have your degree, getting a job is always an option.
Mhm.
But I did not sacrifice my childbearing years, sir, for you to get a
To
job.
get a job, to get a regular job. That's not happening.
That ain't happening, sir.
It's
It's
not
an
happening.
investment on me as
Mhm.
your business manager and best friend and personal assistant and everything else. No, 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 no. We are not going to take less than what we've already had. And that, I mean, that was tough on me mentally as well. Because even when you work with people and you see that something is going to change drastically in their careers, you have to shift as well.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, it was just that was a shift that I had to make mentally, but I knew that I did not want to take a L in that space. There's no way I could have lost, because if he had taken a job by now, he'd own the company. I'm confident in that. But I didn't even want him to have to take that path because it didn't make sense with where he started. And so I'm definitely okay with, I don't have a problem. I've told you, my mentality is that if I had to have a regular 9 to 5, I'd do it and I'd excel at it and I'd be great at it.
Mm-hmm.
But it just hasn't been the option that I've wanted to take, so far. But I mean, you go and you've done it for 25 years and you have excelled at it. You've been great at it. And your mentality has been you are a serialpreneur. You do that and you do this and you do a bunch of other things. And I think that that's probably what keeps you sane, considering all the things that you have to endure as well.
Yeah, it's always better to have more than less going on. When you think,
No lie, huh?
I'm telling you, when you got less going on, that less brings more stress. You know what I'm saying? So when you can keep,
You'll never hear nobody saying, "What you doing?" The least. Oh no, man, we're definitely doing the most.
Never when you're talking about me, they ain't gonna never say I'm doing the least at all. But that just I think that also that lends to your mental health as well. That safe space where you keep your mind going, you keep exercising your mind, you keep stretching and pushing yourself. Not to the point to where it's detrimental, but to the point to where your biggest competition. My biggest competition is not anybody else. My biggest competition was the woman I was yesterday. That's my competition. How can I wake up today to be better than she was yesterday? Sure. And in the morning it's going to be trying to be better than I was today. That's just it. And that's what keeps me pushing and keeps me going. And I think that in that mental space, you have to have that helps to fuel your drive. It does. It helps to fuel your drive. And then you hope that when others see you moving and flourishing in your space, that they then say, okay, well, hey, I can do that because I'm not doing any more today than the next man could have. I'm not doing any more today than somebody couldn't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to do it. I want to learn how to do that. Learn how to do it and then dominate the space. Age is not a limit.
Hold on. So not just you just learn how to do it, but you learn how to do it and dominate the space.
And dominate. Yeah, what you gonna learn how to do it for if you're not gonna dominate? That's wasting time.
Indeed.
That's wasting time. I mean, who learns how to cook and say, oh, I'm an cook? No. If I'm gonna cook, I'm gonna dominate in that space. If I'm gonna teach,
if I'm gonna learn how to cook right, Christ, I'm gonna make fries. I arrived late to school, a lady. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay,
I'm gonna make sure that you got to get in it and then dominate in that space, And your only competition, like I said, is you mentally. Your only competition is you.
Well, I think that last week the men were saying that they were talking about how certain things affected their mental health, and I definitely want to encourage us. We're getting ready to wrap up, but I definitely want to encourage men and women that are listening to. The women, I want you to encourage the men that you're in contact with.
Yeah.
Encourage them to take care of their mind and take into consideration that they have feelings, that they are emotional beings as well. And the pressure from them to not, on them to not show any emotion is not, it doesn't make you a better person or a stronger woman because you can get whatever man you're in contact with to suppress his feelings. But the more you make that space available to, you're going to get a better person. You're just going to I got a better person working with Kenny and other men that I've worked with because I never, ever talked about how weak they were mentally. I knew that they were under a lot of pressure. And I mean, a lot of pressure. And it's like, I've worked with men who were trying to get there and they were under a ton of pressure. I've worked with men who people would say have arrived and they were still under a ton of pressure. And the pressure that they were under was very different from the pressure that I was under. And being there, was being there provided some type of maybe some maternal support that they needed because
they're nurturing. That's the nurturer. That's what women.
Yeah, as a nurturer. So if you get a chance to work with a man in that space, you're right, Layman, mind, body, and soul. Absolutely. And that's what I would encourage him to do. Like, take care of your mind you're gonna work out. You gotta do that because that's what your job requires. But also to mind your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once he had a full understanding, Kenny specifically is what I'm talking about. But once
Mm-hmm.
he had a full understanding of how important it was to have a relationship with God, and the how important it was to have some spiritual foundation, to let this be where you build. That's what the gentleman who was preaching this morning was saying. He was like, "Hey, tall buildings have really a deep foundation. The taller the building, the deeper down you have to build. And so if you think that you can build high without building deep, then you're going to get high, and then you're going to realize that your foundation is not going to support
It's not going
what
to
you
support it.
built. And whenever you see certain people fall, and I've worked with some men who have so-called taken a fall, it's because their foundations have been a little shaky.
Mm-hmm.
A
Surface.
little, just a little. They've been a little shaky, and some of them have had the opportunity to go back and try to rebuild, and you know how you have to try to sturdy it up, but they've done well. So I just want to tell all the men today: take care of your mind, pay attention to your emotions, and if you don't have anybody around you to help you with that, then take it into your own hands. You're responsible for minding your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and they got a ton of apps, and they have so you have no excuse for not getting yourself some help. And Kenny told you about his mental health app. He's got some free time on there. It's called Neolith, Neolith.com, and I'll make sure that Miko adds it into the repost. So I just wanted to say thank you, Sonya. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Miko TV. Thank you for everybody who showed up and hung out with us today on Table Talk with Tiffany. We turned the tables on lifestyle, food, and culture. We didn't necessarily talk about any food today, except the fact that I'm eating some doggone. Let me see, Sonya. I got to do one food thing today. This lady, you remember I bought these yesterday? Y'all need to go to Fat Nanny's Gypsy Soul and get the spicy bread and butter pickles.
Oh
So,
yeah, 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 yeah.
oh my
I
God,
remember
y'all,
you.
these things are amazing. So that's my food. That's what I'm paying homage to, that food right there today. These spicy bread and butter pickles were off the hook. So we'll talk food next week. Maybe we'll talk mental health and food next week. Ugh, is that too deep?
There's a connection. There's a connection. There's
Mm,
definitely a connection.
mm. I don't want to talk about it. Is that what Johnny Taylor said? I don't want to talk about it. I
We'll talk
don't
about
want to talk about it. Well, y'all have a great day. I appreciate y'all being here. Again, y'all follow Table Talk with Tiffany on all of the platforms. My Instagram is Billionaire Tiff, Tiff. So Billionaire Tiff, and Tiffany Parker PR, and also the Billionaire Network. And then www.tiffanyparker.com, drtiffanyparker.com. And then he talking about he needs some mac and cheese. See, what's wrong with these men's minds? Anyway, I ain't making no mac and cheese, man. I'm out the kitchen. Go ahead, son, give us all your handles so we can get off here.
Okay, you guys, you can visit my website, www.thekaleidoscopeproject.com. No, the Kaleidoscope Project 53, excuse me,
Mhm.
.com. You can check out some of my work there. I do DTF transfers. I have classes on there, all kinds of stuff. Just go and look. It's there. You can also follow me on the Kaleidoscope_project on Instagram. And on Facebook, you can follow me under Sonya Hightower Route. You'll see all of my stuff there. So look forward to talking with you guys soon.
Yes. Thank you again. And listen, I'm not sure if any of the students are from Maestro's Barber Academy are on, but their graduation is next Sunday.
Ooh.
So we're going to be announcing the winners of our pitch contest as well. And I can't wait. So if you guys get a chance, hop on my Facebook and Instagram. You know what? Since the graduation is next Sunday, I wonder if we'll be live from over there at the graduation. So
Oh,
we'll
that would be cool. That would be cool.
that would be cool.
Go
So
live
I'm
for graduation. That'd be cool.
Yep. I'll have a few of them on next week, and we can just talk about it. Maybe we'll just run the graduation live. on the show. It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So you guys have a great week. Like utilize this week to do something to just mind your mind and do something great, like maybe rest, take a nap. How about just reflect on how far you've come and then focus on where it is that you want to go and move in that space. And so I'm looking forward to hearing all the good news. And again, we'll see y'all next week. Thank y'all for hanging out on Table Talk with Tiffany. And hey, billionaires, brilliant minds, and $1 billion mindsets. Thank you, Sonya. I'll see you later.
Bye
And
bye.
yes, I'm getting a ring. She's going to help me get a ring light this
Yes.